Nation. How are you? I'm coming back with another live author interview from the book Raise the Vibration, a weekly guide for alchemizing the human experience. And I'm really excited for you to meet the author today. She, as I am every week, I mean, there's such extraordinary people in this book. Her name is Lisa Brisse. Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
Hi, it's so great to have you
So
here.
nice to
I'm
be
just
here
kind of
with you, Anne
introducing,
Margaret.
like, thank you, thank you. I'm just giving a little bit of a background because you and I are the only people in the book that really have not been related for a long time together. You came to me when one of the authors had to drop out of the book, and so we thought, oh my gosh, we need one more because we had already had our 52. And Erica, our mutual friend, a couple weeks ago, I interviewed her. So those who've been following this know, Erica, I interviewed a couple weeks ago. But she said, "Oh my gosh, you have to get my friend Lisa to write a story. She's so extraordinary, and I can't express how much I adore this woman." And so I said, "Okay, let's do it." And so I reached out to you, and you're like, "Who is this person?" And you totally jumped in, which to me speaks volumes about just who you are as a person, and just your willingness to be alive in this life, live it up as much as you can, like really dive deeply into all that life has to offer. You have such an extraordinary story, which we'll get into today, as far as what you wrote for the book, but also there are other things going on, as there always are in our lives. So I'll invite you to speak about that too, of course. And I just think those of you who are listening or who are joining us live on Facebook or Instagram or watching in replay or on YouTube, feel free to pop some questions in if you've got them. And then also, if you're curious about what this is all about, it's a book that was just released in New York at the end of June called Raise the Vibration, a weekly guide for alchemizing the human experience. And if you know those chicken soup books, those are so fun with all like personal stories. It's kind of a mix of that and The Artist's Way. If you guys remember The Artist's Way from the 90s, right? Or maybe 2000s. But it is 52 stories of resilience from the wisdom of 52 authors, and then different prompts, journaling prompts, exercises, activities to help integrate the author's wisdom into your own life. So you're not just like, oh, that was a cool story and be entertained by it, but you can actually integrate it and help alchemize your own human experience. So welcome, Lisa. Please just give us a little background or a lot of background, whatever you want to do. Just let us into your world a little bit more. And for those especially who don't know you, and then those who just absolutely adore you who are watching.
Oh, thank you, Anne Margaret. Well, first of all, I just want to thank you for inviting me to be a part of your amazing project. So yes, Erica had, shared with me that you were, writing this book and you needed a contributor, and would I be interested in, stories of resilience? I'm like, oh yeah, I got some of those.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, and so it was like kind of a no-brainer for me. And being a writer and author myself, it's like,
Mm.
writing is a joy to me. So I'm in a Gemini. I've got lots to say. So
Oh, love it.
anyway, just a little bit about a background of me. I'm originally from Minnesota. I moved to California when I was 20, which is part of the story that I wrote in your book.
Yeah.
I ended up going to school at Pepperdine University here in California, and as with a sports medicine degree. I've
Cool.
worked as an exercise physiologist, trainer, coach. I call myself a wellness heart coach, helping people to get in touch and aligned with their heart and soul.
Mm.
And that's kind of what my story is about as well. And I have a business called State of the Heart Fitness here in Santa Monica, California. But I do, exercise classes and coaching and training, and and also being an author. And my latest adventure in life is dealing with and healing from cancer. I was diagnosed 3 years ago with ovarian cancer, not too long after I had just taken a group to Peru to trek the Andes to Machu Picchu, and teaching spinning
Wow.
classes and all of that. And all of a sudden, one day, I just wasn't feeling that well in my abdomen and started to get a little bit more, and went to the doctor 2 weeks later, and oh, you have cancer. Whoa! So
Wow.
it's been a journey like no other. I say it's my greatest spiritual awakening, and
Mm.
believe it or not, there have been so many gifts from cancer that I can't imagine not having this experience in my life. Now it's puts you right in touch with your mortality. It's right there, and we know that life is about this moment, and there is no other moment. And we all, at some point are gonna cross over, and we always kind of think it's out there, but
Yeah.
really it can be in any moment, And so I just feel like that's more of my awareness. It's right there, but I firmly believe that I still have a lot of things to contribute to this physical world. So I I intend to, continue to move beyond this and have an
Yeah.
amazing continued life after. So there's so
Yeah.
much I could say about it, but we only have a limited time. So
Oh, I know, I know, I know. And this is like, I feel like, the Carpenter song, "We've Only Just Begun." I feel like that's like every single week I
only
feel like it's
just
just
begun.
begun.
Yes. Don't get me started. I could
Oh,
start
girl,
singing
I
with
think we
you.
could.
And I
Awesome.
just have to say, like when we had originally scheduled this interview for September,
Yeah.
mid-September, and I wrote to you and said, I have to start treatment again, and I don't think I'm going to have hair by then. Well, look what happened this week.
Oh
I had to
my
get it shaved.
God.
So
Oh
anyway,
my God. That happened, and but it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful that you're here with us and you're like, "Is it video?" And I'm like, "Yeah." You're like, "All right, whatever." Like you're just like I mean, that's so extraordinary. I mean, just speaks volumes and actually leads me to my next question because my question for you is like you've had so many stories of resilience. You wrote something so beautiful for the book that was massively pivotal for you that from somebody's outsider perspective might be like, oh, what's the big deal? I mean, you just, this or that, right? I mean, because we never know what it's like to be in each other's shoes, right? And we're so easily
right.
judging or judged by others with moments that people don't realize are quite profound for us just on our unique path. And
Mhm.
you could have chosen so many stories. Something I'm always curious and I want to know from each author is why this story?
You know, I chose this story because I feel it set the tone at a very young age. When I was 20, it set the tone for the rest of my life. I'm 53 now, and it literally, it's about, tuning into your heart, getting out of your head. Our head is
Mm.
all about logic and being safe and secure and choosing the safe path. But the heart is what's tapped into our soul, what's tapped into the divine. And our heart
Yeah.
often tells us, calls us to do things that our mind would say, wait a minute, is that
What are you
safe?
doing?
Yes,
Yeah.
is that logical? Are we thinking about everything here? All the things that could go wrong? And the heart is like, do it. And so this
Mm.
story was, about, my digging deep into my soul and listening to the call of my heart and choosing to move from Minnesota to California, which I was called to. My heart was calling to, being called to. I came out here when I was 16 with my Aunt Diane, who's my mentor, and really instilled my love of travel and adventure. And
Mm.
it just, following one's heart, it, like I said, for me to take that big leap of faith in myself and in life, and then to have so much magic happen. I didn't just move out here myself. I brought my horse a few months later,
Yeah.
and that was part of my dream. And so magical things happen when we listen to our heart and call the call of our heart. And so it just set the tone for all of my other amazing stories that I've acquired over the years. So that's why I chose it. And it even led to the name of my business, State of the Heart Fitness, not just the physical heart, the emotional, spiritual heart. So
Mm.
yeah, it just, like I said, it just set the tone for everything. And it's how I've lived and trusted because of that pivotal experience at a very young age at 20.
It's so
So
fascinating how like a lot of go ahead. Sorry, you're gonna say.
well, I didn't know if
Yeah.
if you wanted me to tell the actual story, or you go ahead and direct the
Oh,
direct
very
the
good. Well, oh, I was gonna say, like,
narrative.
it's so fascinating. Well, we're gonna live cliffhangers, for people
Yes,
because I want them to read the book because it's a
yes.
profound story. This story of a pivotal moment in your life And what I find so fascinating is that a lot of the authors opted for this kind of pivotal moment, which I'm so grateful for, because it really, we don't understand that these moments shape us, and they shape us so profoundly to develop our compass, and how we kind of pull everything through that lesson or that perspective, if we're in alignment. If we're not, then we push it away. Yeah, we kind of slide to the side, kind of avoid.
Mm-hmm.
But when we kind of sit in it, and are brave enough to kind of take it in with all senses, including our deeper, subtle understandings, it really can become a superpower for us, that everything can center around. And it's so cool because the title of your story is "The Healing, Feeling, and Following of One's Heart." And we always hear that, like, just listen to your heart. I think, like, what is it? Listen to your heart is like heart, right? Listen to your heart. God. All right, we're going to be like singing the entire interview. But like,
That's right.
The magnitude, like the measurement of the heart is like, at least, like, there's some say 60, some say like 100 or more times that of the brain, the energetic measurement, and the impact of that level of frequency. It's almost like we all think that we need to protect the heart and like wear this heart armor, and we don't realize how strong the heart is when we actually align with love, when we align with our true soul's purpose, and get in touch with whatever we consider as that divine intelligence. And it's impenetrable. It is so fierce and so magnetizing that it's like you can't mess with it. It's the most powerful thing that we have access to. And of course, cue another song, but you can go your own way. Like,
Go your own way.
Yes. So,
Yes.
I mean, we got Fleetwood Mac in here. But your theme every week is a theme, right? Every week you're focusing on some aspect of being human and how to integrate that part of yourself more consciously, alchemize it, upgrade it in some way. And this part of going your own way, so many of us have such a fear of embracing our unique compass. So I want you to talk about, because I know reading this, and oh my gosh, you guys, I got to show you the picture right there. You see it? Oh, beauty queen. It's Old Miss, right? Is it?
Little Miss.
Little Miss. Oh, Little Miss.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, we don't want to cue another song because that would be too much. But but this story, even what you learn from the horses. I mean, from your horse. I mean, the mirror neurons that we can. I mean, I've led a horse in yoga retreat. I mean, it's like a brilliant way to know ourselves. And on the Temple of Apollo, know thyself. That's what it says. So, like, I want you to talk about, because this story, it had such a profound effect on me of just realizing those pivotal moments in our lives and how to honor them. But what do you want the reader to take away from this?
I want the reader, and this is kind of just how I approach my life, again, because of this pivotal part of my life that I wrote about. Yeah. Is, I've dedicated my whole life and my business to taking care of and listening to our heart. And yes, it sounds cliche, listen to your heart. But, there's a whole company called HeartMath, the HeartMath Institute, that has been studying the power of the heart and the electromagnetic, I can never say that,
magnetic field. Yeah. Yes. I didn't even try the harder one. Yes.
Yes, exactly. And so, but it is our direct connection to the divine. Like I said, it's our direct connection to our soul, and our soul is connected to the collective consciousness, that the energy field that we are all a part of. And, the heart, the mind only sees each other and the world as separate. We are these individual identities, where we have separate human bodies. Everything is seen separately from the mind's perspective, and the mind only regurgitates what we've been taught, where the heart is so expansive. It's so inclusive. I believe that the state of our world, of what we see, the chaos, the violence, the hatred, is all that comes from our mind. It's what we are taught. We are not innately born with that. If you look at children and they're in their heart space, they are just energy. Why do they have so much energy? Because they are like a direct channel.
Yes.
The energy is flowing from the divine right through them, and they've just got so much energy, and they're playful. And why are we drawn to them? Because there's a part of ourself, that our inner child self, that was like, we want that back. We were born
Yeah.
with it, but as we have grown, in society, we are taught these things, we are programmed these things, that becomes this energetic weight. And we start
Mm-hmm.
living from more of our head, our mind,
Mm-hmm.
which sees, our ego, which sees each other as separate. And therefore, when we're separate, we compare ourselves, better, less than, I'm better than, the ego, the
Yes.
mind feels insecure by nature because it lives in fear. It doesn't feel connected to
Mm-hmm.
everything else. When you live from your heart, it's like you drop into this deep compassion and empathy. And I've always been an empath since I was little
Yeah.
anyway. And so it's when we tune into this place, our intuition, it brings us this feeling of oneness, of
Mm-hmm.
like, what I do to somebody else, I'm doing to myself. What I'm doing to myself, I'm doing to others. I'm projecting stuff onto the planet. And so the heart is just, it's the truth. It's truth with a capital T.
Mm.
And I think we've been so programmed as a species to live from here,
Mm.
and that gets us in trouble, shall we say, because we're going from what we think instead of what we feel. And what we feel is what's tapped into what's true in the bigger
Yes.
consciousness. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I just saw Erica join. Hi, Erica. What's up, girl? It really
Yay,
brought us
Erica!
together.
Yes,
Yes,
thank
it's
you.
so powerful. Like when we're able to connect with that, the oneness, and also not demonize the separateness. Like we are having a separate experience. That's part of it.
Yes,
That's the ego's
yes,
job, is to help us
yes,
navigate through this existence, and it's the reason why we get to create our lives. Like we wouldn't be able to create in
yes.
oneness. We only can create in separateness, right? So like
That's true.
there is that opportunity for us to self-realize through manifestation, whether it be a smile and how we make somebody feel, the energy we bring to a room, building a business, having a child, whatever it is, whatever we want to manifest, that's possible in this reality, and it makes life so cool. Uh,
Yes.
and if we're not connected to the oneness, then, as you said, we don't understand the selfish interest of actually being a responsible, loving human. We pull
Yes.
through pain when we hurt others. We pull through
Yes.
suffering through our own self when we are rejecting or in some sort of discordance or resistance of others. So, uh, just beautiful to hear that from you. And I know that they're going to be taking that away. I mean, it's such a gorgeous lesson for us. And I want to also just insert that for every chapter. Did you get your book? I gave you your book, right?
Yes.
So, okay, awesome. So
Incredible.
thank you so much. In her story, in her chapter, in every story actually, I connect a chakra to link to their story to help understand the frameworking of the chakra system, because so many people relate to the chakras and they're like, oh, rainbow and this and that and like ego, and it's almost just like a checklist of like cool, like almost like a trying to integrate it, but it feels a little superficial sometimes to not be
Mhm.
able to integrate it into how to apply it truly to our lives and use these amazing tools that help us understand why we are the way we are, why we have the patterns, the belief systems, etc., and the dimensions to our energetic bodies. And I love, I mean, I'm obsessed with the chakras for over 20 years, but that's why I picked a chakra for each story. And yours, instead of going to like the obvious of the heart,
Mhm.
your story really, I think, the heart is required for us to be able to go our own way, to listen to our heart versus anyone else's.
Mhm.
However, a shadow aspect of our heart chakra is loving someone and wanting to keep them happy, So we don't do our own thing in order to keep the peace or meet the expectations, projections, etc., of others, society, and whatnot. And so I thought a really good chakra with your story to match it would be the sixth chakra, whereas the center point of our intuition, our own seeing place, our own truth, our own wisdom, the things that
Mhm.
we've learned that only we can learn, only things that we know. No one else knows why you went
Mhm.
through all the things you went through in the story to get yourself
Mhm.
to the place you needed to be, right? Nobody
Mhm.
knows what it's like going through what you're going through right now, even though how many people have been through cancer? They haven't been through your cancer. They haven't been through your
Right.
experience, right? So
Right.
it's that's one of the things that hit me so profoundly about your story was, you know, you delayed what you eventually did a couple years, I think, in the story. Like you
Mhm.
event, but and your body told you, subtle aspects of yourself told you, hey, like it's time. And like your body told you this time in your abdomen, you started feeling this pain. Hey, pay attention to me, and you did. And it's
Mhm.
if we ignore those nudges, we miss out on this brilliant navigation system.
Well, exactly. And I once heard, and it makes so much sense, that our soul communicates to us through our body, and our body is trying to communicate to our mind, but our mind often ignores.
I love it.
And
Yeah,
right?
totally true.
So,
Totally works.
and part of what I teach and help people also to embrace is really to have this loving and accepting relationship with our body through movement.
Mm,
Movement equals life. I say that in my classes all the time. Movement
mm,
equals life. Movement gets the energy flowing, and it literally connects us with the divine. And our
mm,
bodies are this vehicle to shine our divine light, our unique light into the world. I always say we're disconnected from, from our body, from the neck down
yeah,
a lot of the
a lot.
times, and so, we kind of disregard the body, and we're up here in the spiritual realms, and we think that, oh, we're not our body. No, we're not our body. We're so much bigger, but our body is here with us to carry our light and our soul on this planet. Without this body, we're not here. Without this body and honoring it, we are not going to be the best parent. We're not going to be the best partner. We're not going to be the best
Hmm.
accountant,
Yeah,
teacher, whatever.
yeah,
So finding that loving connection and relationship with the body, because most people have this, we're disgusted, we're annoyed with
yeah.
our bodies. I mean, we're getting into a whole other realm here, but it's all connected,
Yeah, it's all
you
connected
know.
and it's all very appropriate to talk about, I think, too, with what you're bringing up, because, we are not our bodies, we're not our successes. It brings to mind another
Right.
song, of course, because I'm a musician, so I always hear music every
Yes.
conversation. But Alanis Morissette had a song called Joining You, and it was about
Ah,
suicide. And she was speaking to a friend who was suicidal, and she said, if we were our bodies, if we were our successes, if we were our failures, I'd be joining you. If we were our leaders, if we were our
yes.
outcomes, I'd be joining you. Like, and if we can remember that, we're not these things, and yet if we do not make peace with our reality, being in our human body in a world that we are going to go through pain.
Mhm.
Opioid crisis happened because we have avoided pain. We avoid intimacy.
Yes.
Addiction is because we avoid
Yes.
intimacy with ourselves, with others, our pain, our body, God, whatever you call it, anything, our work. It comes
Yes.
from that we're avoiding. So um, I just love hearing what you do, and please, you guys. I also we're gonna ask how they find you, because I want them to be able to connect with you in the Santa Monica area, because this it's so critical. As a trainer, I've been a trainer for over 20 years as well, and like
Hmm.
it's. I mean, work with some of the most beautiful bodies, considered like the most gorgeous men and women in the world,
Hmm.
and a big what do they call it, like spoiler alert. That
Hmm.
doesn't bring peace, doesn't bring happiness. All the money in the world, the fame, the most success, the
Nothing.
best body, cover on the magazine, it
Mm-mm.
doesn't bring it. It doesn't
Mm-mm. It
bring it.
doesn't. It doesn't. And I too have worked with, some of the wealthiest people,
Yeah,
celebrities and all of that. And it's like, you know, truthfully, we're all on the same playing field. When you
yeah,
get down to the heart, we're all on the same playing field. We're all human. We all experience the variation of human emotions. It doesn't matter what our circumstances are. And I've been sharing my cancer journey very publicly on
Yeah.
YouTube and
So
Facebook
appreciate that.
because, when I was diagnosed, speaking of the body,
Yeah.
I immediately went to, people are like, oh, cancer is so random. And I'm like, no, I don't believe that.
Mm.
At least not for me. I
Yeah.
was like, my body is trying to tell me something here. And as I
Wow.
said in the beginning, it has been the most incredible spiritual awakening with the most profound gifts that I asked myself not that long ago, Lisa, if you could have gone through life without getting cancer, but you didn't get the gifts and the lessons, what would you choose? I'd
Mm.
rather have cancer
Yeah.
because it has shown me, actually,
Mm.
I will say that cancer saved me. Um, and what I believe, my little miss, by the way, my horse,
Yeah.
she passed away in 2017 at the age of 36, and I had her for 35 of those years. So she was
Wow.
like my solid rock on this planet and my greatest teacher, which I'm writing a series of 4 books. I just published the first one
Oh my
last
goodness.
December. Yes,
Incredible.
about our journey, because it wasn't long after, well, it was probably like 9 years after I had her that I really tuned in and realized that she was a Zen master who was here to teach, became in the form of a horse
Oh my
to
God.
really,
Amazing.
because I could hear her. And
Wow.
once she knew I could hear her, oh my God, the lessons, the wisdom just kept coming, and I'm getting chills.
Oh, me
And
too.
she's still right here
Wow.
with me. She shows me in every
Yeah.
way. But
Yeah.
my point is that she, that her passing was the most, it just like took
Mm.
the ground from underneath me. And then after she passed, it was like 2 years of loss after loss. I even lost where I had my business for 17 years. And I
Oh, wow.
believe that I was at a point right before I was diagnosed where I was kind of at the first time in my life, kind of like, I don't really know where to go anymore because I've had so many, like I didn't have that was so scary for me because I'm
Mm.
like, I've always been motivated and inspired for,
Yeah.
I didn't know. And it wasn't that I was suicidal, but I was like, I don't really know what more to do on this planet. And it's like cancer hit. And it was like, no, I do want to be here. I promise I want to be here. And it has really like stripped so many things that I've had to
Wow.
look at, programming and stuff. And I knew too that I had to share this journey. If this, I'm a firm believer that nothing crosses our soul's path without our soul's permission.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've had to make peace with cancer in my
Mm.
body. And, we
Mm.
think we're fighting, we're battling. But
Yeah. Yeah.
what are we battling? Our own
Yeah.
selves?
Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
It,
Yep.
our body's trying to tell us something, and whatever it is. So
Yes.
again, I could go on, but I know we're limited on
I
time. So
know, I know, I know,
yeah,
I know. I appreciate everything you just shared, and this is why we introduce, the readers to you because those who don't know you need to. And
thank you.
that brings me to my last question. Absolutely, absolutely. Is
Mhm.
the question around storytelling. I mean, through indigenous times to now, storytelling, we get obsessed with reality TV, other people's stories, and unfortunately, we don't always alchemize it in a way that helps us self-reflect. We use it many times as a distraction, but storytelling has always been, since indigenous time, as a way to pass on a wisdom, to share how to process trauma, to share overcoming of obstacles, stories of resilience, stories of pain, stories of ancestors, wisdom, etc. And what I didn't anticipate with this, because I kind of go through things blind, like I put on a blindfold after it's like, take the first step. I'm like, okay. I have no idea how much work it's going to be. He probably can relate because I feel like you
Oh
and I,
yes,
you and I are kind of similar that
yes,
way. And then you're just like,
yes.
yes, okay. So that this sixth chakra also is about like the intuition and saying like listen and obey. Now obey is kind of like a triggering word for some people, but like
Sure.
when it comes to yourself and your own trusting yourself, we need more of that because we so often override our own experience, our own expertise, our own story to live someone else's life. And so listening to that, obeying it, like really trusting in your path, your story. I want you just to share a little bit here at the end, like what was writing this story like for you? It's not your first time writing, so it's, you know, not like that, but what was it what was it like writing this story for this book? Because even at the end, I don't know if you saw, but we left a few pages blank for people to be able to write their own story, because every single one of us has one, folks. Every one of us has it. And the more we're able to own the fullness of that story, life gets so good. Life gets
It
so
does.
good. Yeah.
It does. And I think that's just for me writing, because I've been journaling since I was 12. What it does for me is so, really? Oh
Yes.
my gosh.
At least 12. At least 12. Yeah. I had
Yeah.
to.
Well,
I had to process, just get it on paper and
yes.
see it out of my brain.
Yes. And I have said that writing is, for me at least, is been the greatest therapeutic tool. Like when I feel
Oh, yeah.
when I tune in and I like feel my energy and I'm like, oh God, I got some energy that I picked up somewhere that just doesn't feel it. Where did I get this? And I kind of trace back. And anyway,
You
I
can't
use
shake it
my,
off.
yeah,
You're just
it's
like,
like, where did this come
yeah,
from?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So get that journal out and I start writing and I just like, and eventually it's like, I always get to the place of peace. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you get through the
Yeah.
storms of energy of whatever you're feeling, and you come back to, okay. So,
Mm.
writing this story, writing any of my stories, it's always a therapeutic experience. It's
Mm.
always like, ah, and so
Yes.
I don't know, that's
Yeah.
all the way I could describe it, is just
I love it.
getting it out, getting
It's
it
therapy.
out of here. Yeah,
Yeah, and, like
it is.
getting, because so much of what we get blocked by is what stays in here, and if we got it out, then it's one separation that sometimes isn't enough for the observer mind to go and analyze it, and then realize that you're not it.
Yeah.
It's just an expression of how you've been. But
Yes.
yeah, journaling. Oh my gosh, any of my yoga students or my yoga teacher trainee students are watching this, or any of my chakra workshop people, like I always give journaling meditations as work, because I do believe in, if we can get it out of our brain and we can see it on paper, I believe in the
Yes.
paper pen still. Like
Oh, I agree.
yeah. But seeing it in front of us that's not reflected in a digital screen is just so helpful for our process. So, well, I
Yes.
mean, I'm so grateful that I cannot believe how this evolved, that you were a part of this book. I mean, I reached out to my community and colleagues and students, friends, and when this spot opened up, it was just meant to be yours. So I'm so grateful that you're a part of this and that your wisdom is in here. Your energy is in here. You're just an extraordinary human being, and I can't wait to know you better. And if people want
Likewise.
to, thank you. And if people
Mm-hmm.
want to find you and follow you,
Mm-hmm.
because she has been very open with her journey, and it's incredibly, not only is it inspiring, it's so enlightening, and just not not just for people who are battling with the same thing, but for
Mm-hmm.
anyone who can just value the importance of I told you. Did you see Erica's comment?
Erica, I love you.
I love you, Erica. Oh my God, you're so awesome. Yes, you did, my
Yes.
friend, and I am grateful. But it's
Mm-hmm.
like, we want to be able to connect with you and follow you and
Mm-hmm.
be able to know what you're doing, because what she's sharing, anybody can relate to and everyone can benefit from on some level, in order to be able to appreciate the moment and really just kind of go with the punches and surf the waves of life.
And
So,
that's actually what I've gotten feedback from people. Like, people write to me and share with me, thank you so much for sharing this journey, because it's helped me to look at things differently. It's helped me
uh,
to navigate my own. And like I said, you don't have to be going through cancer. We all have
no.
our things
Oh, yeah.
that is challenging us, and so we're in it
Yeah.
together. And that's where I have felt my healing is everybody's healing. Everybody's
Mm,
healing is my healing. And
yeah.
so we do this together, and that's why I share. And anyway, so how to follow me or whatever, I do have a YouTube channel where I post my updates. Lisa Brisse, Brisse. Brisse sounds like the wind, but
Breezy. I mispronounced
yeah,
it. Lisa Breezy? That's so cool. I was calling it Briss, and I'm like, Briss is not, Breezy. I'm so
Brisse.
sorry.
Do not be
Breezy.
sorry. I've heard it all my life. I've heard every variation. And how would you know? It doesn't look like breezy. But
It's
if we want to be
great.
French, if we want to be French about it, it's brise. But
Brise.
brise.
Mm.
But my family says breezy. So there you
I
go.
love it. I love it.
So I'm
So
on
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm on Facebook, of course. I'm on Instagram. But I also, my website for my book about Little Miss is
Oh yeah.
lisabrise.com, all one word. And then I also, my business is stateoftheheartfitness.com, all one word.
Amazing.
So yeah,
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for being with me during this time and sharing a little bit more
thank
about
you.
yourself and all the amazing aspects of who you are. And again, thanks to
Hmm,
Erica for bringing us together. It's just so good to,
absolutely.
that's, I mean, it's such a small world and we all have a story and we can all support one another in some way. So thank you so much for being a part of this book.
Oh my gosh, Anne Margaret. And I just want to thank you for being who you are and, for being inspired. And I know it takes a lot of work to put a book together, especially your kind of book where it's, there's a lot. I can just write my story and put a few pictures, but I mean, you are putting this whole book together and I totally respect the time and effort that it's taken. So thank you for being
Thank
you
you.
and thank you for letting me be in your sphere and in your book.
Absolutely my pleasure, girl. And I can't wait to see you in person. So next time in
Yes.
California, or you're in Colorado or New York. I'm in New York right now, of course. But
Okay.
our paths will cross. I know, and
They
I can't
will.
wait. I can't wait to see you. And thank you guys so much for watching and just supporting Lisa and supporting Raise the Vibration. You can get the book at raisethevibration.com on the shop page, and it's so cool. There's like it's an adult coloring book, so you can like color it and like journal. I mean, that's why I have all the journaling prompts, right, in the book. But like all of the exercises, daily focuses on miracles, so you start shaping the way that you're seeing things differently. But life just gets good when you learn how to raise your vibration and understand like how to really fall in love with your story and your life and your challenges and the contrast of what you've overcome. So be brave, have courage, and until next time, keep raising the vibration, everybody. Thank you, Lisa. All right,
You're
bye.
so welcome.